He scores 2 goals. He's just really, really good.
Oh my God, Charlie. So he scores his 10th goal of the season, 5th goal on the power play to make it 1-0 in the first period. He's not done. He is not done in the first. Scores his 11th on really, that was the Sandheim setup. Really nice pass to find Michkov on that far post. Can't say enough about this guy right now. He is. I was really hoping, because I looked it up just to see the point pace and compare it to Eric Lindros, because, like, you know, we've said all along this is the most hyped, most talented rookie we've had since '88. Now, numbers are a little different, and this is before the '90s turned into the '90s, right. So, like, scoring's still high. Yeah. He had 19 goals in his first 25 games. But in that game 25, Eric Lindros scored a hat trick. It was his second career hat trick. He had one like a week before.
Of course.
But I was like, man, 2 goals in the first period. We have a chance to see a little bit of I love patterns like that. Like 25th game, they both score a hat trick, but was not to be. But we have to shout out one of our regular contributors, one of our regular super chatters yesterday, Gary B. I have a feeling Michkov pots 2 goals versus Boston. Let's go Flyers.
Well, Gary B, you were right.
Came through in the first period. So way to go, Gary, on that call. But we're getting a lot of comments about the Michkov time on ice. And it was a bigger deal yesterday, I think. Not as much penalty time. And like you see Farabee's. A lot of people were like, how does Farabee, who can't find the back of the net, play more than this, teenager?
Well, he was on the top line. That's why.
And that's what I said yesterday. Like, one plays with Couturier, one plays with Frost. Who do you want out there more? Now, can you figure out a way to even that out? Maybe. But what do you think of this? Because to start the year, I mean, Torts was really leaning on Matvei Michkov. First 9 games, averaged over 19 minutes, 19-15. Since then, he's been under 16 minutes. He had a little run there at the end of November where he's getting some more ice time. But for the most part, he's been in that like 15-minute range. Boston, a very physical team. We've talked before about like maybe Mish not the best at dealing. I mean, not a knock on him. He's a 19-year-old adjusting to the NHL. He's adjusting pretty damn well. But There's a lot that's really hard about the NHL, and the schedule is part of it. Like, it's the front end of a back-to-back. You're going to want him tomorrow ready to go too, because, again, he's one of 2 guys on this team that can score. Maybe you're not, like, limiting his time, but just kind of trying to manage how much of a workload. Like, it's not a negative. It's just kind of like, how much can we put on this kid? He already has the weight of the franchise on him. Like, they can say he's not our savior, but he freaking is. I'm wearing a hoodie that's dedicated to him. Yeah. I'm 36. He's 19. Like, like, it's the weight of the franchise is on this kid. Mm-hmm. How, like, do we need to give him 20 minutes a night? And honestly, I don't think you do. But a game like this, maybe get him more than 14 minutes?
I think there's probably 2 reasons why he's not getting a ton of ice time. The first reason speaks to what you're saying, is that maybe they feel like in the beginning part of the year, they put a little too much on him, a little too fast. I think he is a hard worker. I don't think he is in as good shape as he's going to eventually get into, as he is fully on an NHL weight program and whatnot. I think you see him in the gym. Like, it's not that he's not working. I think there's just ways that he could probably work smarter to get into better physical fitness, to be able to handle minutes. And I think they probably figure that out. It's like, okay, maybe we shouldn't be giving him 20 minutes a night yet. He'll get to that point. He's not there yet. So I think that's probably part of it. I think a bigger reason, though, truthfully, is just the line he's on. John Tortorella, understandably, does not trust Morgan Frost. Yeah. He doesn't.
No.
And Michkov happens to be on the Morgan Frost line. So there are going to be times in the game where Tortorella, probably in the heat of the moment, he isn't thinking, I can't give Michkov this shift. He's thinking, I can't give Frost this shift. And Michkov is getting hurt a little bit, because you look at it, okay, last 3 games, Michkov has 7 points. And in each of those games, he's in the 14
Under
minute.
15 minutes.
He's in the 14-minute range. I really think a lot of that is Frost. And again, we talked about this, like, that's going to stay a problem. The center thing is a problem because Frost makes the most sense as a Michkov center. He does, because he's the most offensively skilled center they have, and it means that they can keep Michkov away from the toughest 5-on-5 matchups because Couturier is getting them. However, Morgan Frost is not playing that well. He had a couple good games when he came back, and now he's back to kind of being invisible again, and Torts sees it. The ideal would be if Frost is playing well, then you can give his line that has Michkov on it, 18, 19 minutes. I just don't think Tortorella feels like he can, but he also doesn't feel like Michkov is ready to get the tough matchups with Couturier. So this is kind of what happens. Yeah, I think that's what's going on here.
I think it's very telling. Like in pregame and yesterday, we're talking about, hey, we're finally starting to see some chemistry with Mish and Tippett. Whose name we haven't said in like 3 days, which is maybe a record for since he's become a Flyer. Morgan Frost.
He hasn't done much.
He hasn't been doing really anything at all.
Yeah.
And I can't blame the coach for that. Now, like we see yesterday, Tippett gets bumped up to the bumped up at least for a shift to the top line. I think maybe Farabee coming out of the box or something got messed up, so he was there. Got a few shifts with that line. But it's like, left winger for left winger.
Right.
Today, you bench Konechny. We know that they're both exclusively right wingers. That's why they're not playing together.
Moved them up,
Opportunity to move them up?
Yeah, it's a really good point.
But we see Tippett on that line.
Yeah, but then they move Tippett up again because he can play both left wing and right wing, obviously. But it's a fair point. I really do think a lot of it, though, is that they are, Torts has kind of endearingly called Michkov's 5-on-5 defensive work a gong show. I just don't think they trust Michkov in that first line role, regularly facing off against David Pastrnak. Like, I just don't think they're there yet. I think that's what it boils down to.
And as frustrating as that is for us, because we're like, he scored 2 goals, you also don't want to put that sort of defensive responsibility on him if he's not ready for it, because that leads to, like, maybe he loses a little bit of confidence. Now, he's a confident kid.
I don't think he's losing confidence.
I just, it exposes him a little.
I think that's more than that's a better way to put it. Yeah.
You don't need that.
Yeah.
Again, it's frustrating when they lose a game like this. But what have they told us for 2 years now? Results don't matter. Yeah. Results of the game.
Results of the individual games.
The individual games, where they are in the standings, that is not the priority. Bringing the players along so that they can be a part of this 3 years from now when they're good.
Yeah.
That's the priority.
Yeah.
I get it. It is just like, man, his points per 60 gotta be insane. What if we gave him more time? He'd probably score more. It's just, that's the way it feels right now.
We all silly like the mayor.